I think I need to go to the new link for the live stream. Alrighty, so stream's up. I don't know if I should re-announce it in Discord. Probably not. First thing I do need to do is I need to move my image so it doesn't block the characters later. So my guy is going to be flying up there. And we should be good to go. Stream Elements is here. Streamlabs will probably be here. Hopefully 99 and Saru and everybody else find their way here. The days passed and the maids of Bly were still suffering from a mysterious malaise. They weren't the only ones either. Several of the valets had fallen ill with the mysterious fever, and even the indomitable Miss Smith had taken her bed with a fierce headache that refused to shift. In Miss Smith's moment of need, Estelle Wood's practical housekeeping guide had failed her. Now the only members of the serving class who were able to work were Lorena, Taohua, and Effie. As such, the majority of jobs had piled onto these three maids, like a particularly fierce snowdrift. What's going on, 99? Welcome back. Come Friday morning, both Lorena and Effie could be found in the drawing room. Lorena was sweeping the floor, while Effie was polishing the large wooden globe that stood in the corner of the room. 99, were you here? Did you get to see any of these streams before 99? Or should I give you a rundown of everything that's happened so far? I know Saru has seen these streams. Millennium has been watching these streams. Don't know if he's gonna show up today. Hopefully he does. Bro, a Genshin video played. I thought you changed the games. I mean, I did change games, but I don't know why you saw Genshin. That's kind of weird. That's interesting. Was it an ad? I don't know. I shouldn't have ads because I don't have 1,000 subs and they don't pay me, so. Come Friday morning. Okay, I read that, I think I read this. Fill me in? Okay, so we're playing as a maid who's 19 years old, and the older, or presumably older, black-haired maid has taken an interest in her. They've already kissed, and they kind of like flirt. The older maid kind of looks out for her, makes sure that she's hopefully treated well. Some of the other maids treat her poorly. The little girl that's like the daughter of the house owner is like a little devil, but I love her because she's like so, I don't know, she's so like confident, I guess, even though it's like an arrogance. It speaks to me in a way. But yeah, so basically the kissing has already happened. We're kind of in the middle of the romance. I think there was like a bathtub scene type of thing. But yeah, good shit going on. What's going on, Lord? How's your week going? It was your old video? I should be QQ on all socials except my Discord. Alright, fair enough. I mean, everybody's gonna know who you are. You're fucking 99, bro. Finally made the change and I'm kind of happy about it. Hell yeah, bro. It's always good to have something new. I think I'm extremely happy with Nico Jiyuu, so, you know. I'm glad I'm no longer Chaos Cloud 0008 or Azure Cloud Aria. All these complicated names that are not good branding. It's going good. How's yours going? Not bad. I finished my virtual job this week. Starting a new job soon in person. And yeah, I haven't been playing Genshin. I'm like borderline. I mean, I played Genshin earlier today. I streamed it, and I played a little bit Wednesday. I didn't play at all yesterday. I'm getting tired of Genshin, man. It's so fucking annoying. They don't give me good things when I roll. They just don't treat me well. I feel the Genshin community, specifically MiHoYo, has betrayed me. People did recognize me easily. Of course, bro. You got the same profile pic. You got the 99. QQ seems like something that you would say as part of your personality. Like a laugh that you would do in real life. Like Nari says something funny and you're like, QQQ. I don't know. Some weird shit like that. But yeah. The globe hadn't been used since Miss Ingrid left, and it had accumulated a good deal of dust. When Effie drew the dampened cloth across the wooden surface, a dense, gray cloud swirled through the air. Effie turned her head away, tears beating in her eyes, and sneezed. Achoo! The sneeze was loud enough to make Lorena jump. Effie was so quiet it was unusual for her to make any kind of noise. Lorena had quite forgotten she was there. Oh, bless you. Effie sniffed and nodded her head in silent thanks, but that was all. She said nothing else. Lorena shifted her foot awkwardly. She wasn't accustomed to being alone with Effie, and she had no idea what to say. This might have been easier if she was with Lieselotte. Everybody liked Lieselotte, Effie included. The two of them were rather close. To Lorena, however, Effie was an enigma. She didn't know if they had anything in common. What exactly did Effie like? Well, you gotta fucking ask her. What the hell? Now she had a chance. She might as well ask. So, Effie, I've been at Bly for half a year now, but we still don't know much about each other. Effie blinked. She tilted her head to one side. I was wondering, is there anything in particular you're interested in? Effie shrugged. No? Effie shook her head. Lorena resisted the urge to throw herself on the floor in defeat. Then, do you have any hobbies or interests? Effie shook her head again. What about your family? What's your family like? Another shake of the head. Be right back, alright. Looking forward to having you back, 99. You mean you don't have a family? A shrug. Either you have a family or you don't. You can't shrug. Unless she was an orphan, that was always possible. It wasn't so uncommon for a woman to have children, realize they were too poor to provide for them, then send them to orphanages. If that really was the case, it was no wonder Effie said so very little. She must have been raised from youth to keep her mouth closed. Lorena had heard stories about orphanages. Apparently the children had to wear rags and were fed gruel. And if they so much as asked for more... she's talking about Oliver Twist, bro. Oh, speaking of Genshin, Elan is so cracked. Got the good artifacts, and with Hu Tao, Raiden, and Elan, I can almost take down the Raiden fight without going into second phase. Wait, what the fuck? I am so confused. Can you replay the Raiden fight? What? I didn't the Raiden fight has replayability? What's going on here? I haven't finished building Elan. I still have her level 80. I haven't really been trying to build her. I don't know. I'm fucking lazy, man. I mean, I think you saw, I don't know if you saw her earlier when I was streaming. Her talents are like 2, 2, and 5. Her weapon is pretty leveled. Her character level is 80. It's really just the artifacts that I gotta, like, definitely work on, and the talents, I guess, but... I don't know, man. Raiden is a weekly boss? Is it? I thought Senora was the only Inazuma weekly boss. Since when is Raiden a weekly boss? What the fuck? Or maybe that was something from a Charles Dickens story. Either way, Lorena now felt quite guilty for asking. I'm sorry if I was being insensitive. I know there are some things that can't be spoken about. There was a small pause, then... Like you and Taohua? Oh! Bro, what? Effie knows? Effie knows! Bro. Alright, guys. Some shit is about to go down. Lorena stared. Her eyes were as round as ostrich eggs. What do you mean? Heh. Effie smiled. She looked proud of herself, though Lorena couldn't fathom why. Neither did she want to. You and Taohua. What about us? You get on well. I don't know what you're talking about. It's alright. Effie pressed a finger against her lips. I'm good at keeping secrets. Yo, Effie, what the fuck? Are you caught up with that? Yeah, I'm caught up with everything. I finished Act 2.4. Like, all the Kokomi stuff and everything on all the accounts. Then was Jesus led up of the Spirit into the wilderness to be... Achoo! Alright, guys. Bad news. Jesus got COVID, bro. Big effing chat. The congregation at St. Mary's that Sunday was a good deal thinner than usual. Like Bly, Ellesmere had been visited by a great plague, rendering half of the villagers abed with high temperatures. Even Reverend Marner looked worse for wear. His skin was grayer than his hair, and it was sagging about his mouth. Despite this, however, the good Reverend continued on, much as Jesus had wandered through the desert, all the while being tempted by Satan. And when he had fasted 40 days and 40 nights, achoo! But though it was a valiant effort, it wasn't quite enough. Reverend Marner's words were peppered with sneezes, and he had to keep pausing. Lorena, who'd been taught to say bless you after every single sneeze, tried to resist the urge. She was sure Reverend Marner wouldn't have appreciated it, and in any case it was impolite to talk during church. And when the tempter came to him, he said, achoo! Man, Jesus is saying a lot of achoo, bro. They need to get him checked out. Lorena was unsure if she would ever uncover what the tempter had said. The church echoed with the repeated sounds of coughing. It was starting to give Lorena a headache. Then the devil taketh him up into the holy... achoo! Effie was the only other maid from Bly in attendance, and Lorena rather wished she wasn't. For once, she almost desired Pauline and Isabel's company. That would be preferable to the knowing looks Effie kept shooting her. Why did Effie seem so very pleased with herself? Jesus said unto him, It is written again, Thou shalt not... achoo! You heard that, guys? You better not get COVID. You better not get allergies, because thou shalt not achoo. You heard it here first. Effie was more dangerous than Lorena had ever known. Following the church service, Lorena happened to come across Taohua in the village square. Oh, my little Lori, coming back from church? That's right, Lorena glanced at Effie. Her fellow maids seemed to be trying, with limited success, to repress peals of laughter. What did she find so very funny? Are you here about your violin? Indeed. Emilia said it was nearly ready, didn't she? Oh yes, that's right. After all the excitement that had occurred that week, Lorena had quite forgotten. Taohua pondered, one finger pressed against her lower lip. As the indomitable Miss Smith had fallen ill, and even Mr. Lester is looking rather peaky, there should be nobody at Bly who will scold you if you're an hour or two late in returning. What do you think? Taohua's eyes shimmered mischievously. Would you care to accompany me, my little Lori? Pfft. Effie sniggered again in a rather unladylike manner. Though she had a hand pressed against her mouth, the giggles still escaped. Taohua blinked. What on earth is the matter with you? I'm fine. You don't look it. It's an allergic reaction. To what? The sun. How can one be allergic to the sun? I'm a vampire. Then how were you able to go to church? Shh. Yo, Effie best girl, bro. Effie pressed a finger against her lips. Apparently that was a secret. The most troubling thing was, if Effie really was a vampire, Lorena wouldn't have disbelieved her. There was something rather disconcerting about her fellow maid, particularly her pale skin and her low, monotone way of speaking. Oh my god. Vampirism aside, would you mind too terribly if I borrowed my little Lori for a while, Effie? Effie shook her head. Then it's all settled. Let's go, my little Lori. Ah, yes, I'm sorry, Effie. Don't apologize. Effie gave Lorena a less than covert wink. Lorena could only sigh. For a girl who rarely spoke, Effie could be awfully tiring. Ah, my baby, how I missed you. Taohua stared at her violin with wide eyes. She was so overjoyed her face sparkled. For such an aloof woman, at that moment, she looked oddly adorable. Lorena had seen Taohua smile before, but those smiles would be more accurately classed as smirks. It was rare for the older woman to smile so openly, without abandon, like a small child upon their first encounter with an elephant in London Zoo. Emilia, meanwhile, looked deeply unimpressed. Oh, this is too much. Emilia, stop being callous. Well, I apologize, but this is rather ridiculous. If I wanted to watch such an unabashed display of melodrama, I'd go to the West End. How cynical. You don't know the half of it. When I took her to see Romeo and Juliet at Haymarket, she fell fast asleep. While poor Juliet was professing her love for Romeo's still warm corpse, this little terror was snoring and drooling on my shoulder. I do not drool. How would you know? You were dead to the world, even more so than Romeo on the stage. Grr. Emilia grit her teeth together, her face flushed scarlet. The redness of her cheeks clashed sharply with the pink of her clothes, and the sorry sight was almost enough to make Lorena laugh. She really might have if laughing at Emilia didn't seem like a swift way to go about getting kicked in the shins. What a funny little girl. She wants to be a blue-blooded lady, but she has all the sentiment of a rock. A sedimentary rock. Not even that, a piece of flint, I was thinking. I'm not a little girl, I'm 16 years of age, that's plenty. Many girls are married younger, it's true, but I don't think it's a particularly wise practice. You might be old enough to sign your life away, but that doesn't make you any more of an adult in my eyes. She's also rather delicate. I always tell her to eat more greens, but she just won't listen. All she cares about are cakes and sweet pastries. That's because you spoil her. Well, I would rather she love me for buying her almond rings than hate me for forcing her to eat boiled spinach. There are better things in this world to hate people over than spinach, surely. You're too soft, Theodora. What can I say? Love does strange things to us all. Please. Emilia rolled her eyes yet again. If she weren't such a lady, she would have accompanied the gesture with some Fawkes vomiting sound effects. What sort of noble woman would, in the midst of a tea party with her fellows, pretend to regurgitate their lunch all over the carpet? I think it's foolish to care so much about a silly violin. Everyone has things they care about, Emmy. Yes, but most people don't care about objects. Possessions might be nice, but they don't necessarily make one happy. Oh, am I being lectured about the follies of material wealth from a spoiled little girl like you? Like I already said, I'm not a little girl, and you have no right to dismiss what I say either. I'll try not to be dismissive, but it's hard to listen to such words from you, my dear Emilia, when you're so very obsessed about your own appearance. Alright, fine, I admit it. I like wearing pretty clothes and fine shoes and drinking expensive tea. I'm a shallow person, it's true, but I don't attach such significance to all that stuff. I'm not using them to fill a void. And what void is it you're speaking of, may I ask? Emilia's response was instant, delivered in a tone cool enough to freeze the trumpet-shaped heads off of an entire congregation of golden daffodils. I don't covet material goods because I'm lonely. Emilia. Nobody asked you, big sister. I am talking to Taohua. In that case, I suppose I'll leave you to it. Theodora turned to Lorena, who'd been rather left out of the conversation, and gave her a warm smile. Would you like another spot of tea? While Theodora chatted amiably with Lorena, the bitter conversation between Taohua and Emilia continued. Lorena was grateful for Theodora's kindness, but she couldn't focus on what she was saying or on the taste of the tea Theodora poured for her. She was too busy watching Taohua. If that's what you think, I'll make no attempt to change your mind. But I'm not lonely. No? Emilia snorted. If you're not lonely, why have you clung to this instrument for so long? You better take care of it than you do your relationship. You take better care of it than you do your relationships with other people. Oh, but other people are so dreadfully dull. I'd rather not waste my time. But that's no way to live. And since when did you start caring about me so much, I don't, not really. It sounds to me like you do. Otherwise, you wouldn't be so concerned. I'm not concerned, I know you dislike living in Shropshire, and I'd rather dislike it too. Unlike me, however, you have the ability to move. Why don't you? I know your violin is your baby, but there are people who would pay a good deal to add it to their collections. My sister has connections, and she could contact some of our father's old clients who would be most interested in owning a violin made in Cremona. The violin is worth around 600, but who knows, it could fetch a price higher. You can do an awful lot with all that money. You could move, you know, find a new life, a better life. There has to be a life better than this out there somewhere. There has to be. Oh, Emmy, do you really hate it here so much? I've already told you, I despise it. You silly goose, I'm not staying here solely so I can make you miserable. You do know that, don't you? I know. We can't leave. Our parents left this shop to us, so we have to look after it for them. We owe them that much. We don't owe them anyway. They were the ones who left us. They didn't ask how we felt. For all we know, they could be dead already. We received a letter from them only last week. It's only a matter of time, Jesus Christ. It's been 5 years and they still seem to be in high spirits. Maybe they are for now, but it won't last. They've gone to a heathen country, sister. I mean, Zanzibar. That doesn't sound like the kind of place that would appear in an atlas. It sounds like a made-up fantasy world, but with more deadly insects. Be that as it may, they appear to be enjoying themselves. We need to give them time. But... Emilie sniffled. I've waited enough, and I'm tired of waiting. I'm tired of stagnating. I'm tired and I don't understand. I simply can't stand to see somebody who could leave here if she wanted, refusing to do so out of, I don't know really, complacency? Laziness? Fear of the unknown? The words you're searching for, Emilie, are nostalgic sentiment. That sounds like an excuse to me. Well, perhaps. You see, you are making excuses. You could leave, but you refuse to. Why? Because I would hate to miss out on your excellent company. Don't say that. I know you don't even like me. You've never liked me. That's quite a harsh accusation to level at a girl, Emilie. When have I ever said I disliked you? Can you recall a time? I certainly can't. No, you don't say it, but that's what all upper-class ladies do. They never say what they think. They just make inferences and snide remarks and look down on you. You've always been looking down on me. I'm flattered that you think of me as an upper-class lady, despite my position as a maid. Of course you're an upper-class lady, otherwise you wouldn't have this violin. Paupers can't afford such things. I could have been called that once, but despite your impassioned pleading, I can't sell it and leave. I simply can't. Because of the sentimental value. You're making a critical error in judgment, Emmy. For all the years you've known me, I fear you don't really understand me, and you fail to account for one crucial thing. Oh, and what's that? Just because you're lonely, with your parents overseas, and your older sister the only friendly face you know, that doesn't mean I am. I'm perfectly content with my life. You see... Taohua looked at Lorena, who was toying with the now lukewarm cup of Darjeeling Theodora had poured her. Taohua looked at her and smiled. How could I be lonely when I have my dear little Lori? The two women walked back through the countryside, ears of corn brushing their legs. The corn rustled with their every footfall, compacting and compressing beneath the soles of their shoes. The sky overhead was a pure, peerless blue, festooned with light blue clouds. The sun shone, making the corn glow golden. It was almost like the entire countryside had been bathed in a golden glow, but Lorena wasn't in the mood for sentiment. There were too many questions she wanted to ask, too many questions left unanswered. Emilie really does care about you. What makes you say that? Everything. Don't take it too seriously, my little Lori. She tries to act prim and proper, but she's quite passionate deep down inside. Sometimes that passion spills over and causes quite a scene. I think there's more to it than that. Lorena frowned. Emilie had said much the same thing when she'd run into her last week. Emilie, no matter how snippy she was, really did care about Taohua. Maybe it was because they'd known each other for so long. Ever since Emilie was a little girl. More than a decade. Could it be to Emilie, Taohua was no mere client of her father's or Theodora's friend? Maybe Taohua was like a big sister, but vastly more reliable than her real one. Lorena herself knew how strong familial bonds could be. She had 3 sisters and she loved them dearly. Lorena could never hope to compete with Emilie's affection. It just was impossible. Maybe Taohua... Oh, I read that. Hey, Taohua. What is it, my dear little Lori? What was Emilie like when she was a young girl? She was a brat. What did she do? She was spoiled by her grandfather and her father and her mother and her sister, so of course, she was a brat. She always wanted the best of everything, even back then, and wore the most ridiculous, ostentatious outfits. She demanded that she be allowed to wear full-skirted frocks in the summer with long sleeves, then complained that it was too hot, and pitched the most unimaginable temper tantrums. You sound so jaded. Rightfully so, she was incredibly irritating. More than Lady Constance? Nobody could be more irritating than Lady Constance. Maybe I'm doing her a disservice. Amelia was a stubborn, flighty child, but she was amusing at the very least. I never once wanted to slap her. Unlike Lady Constance, you don't want to know what I would do to her, provided I could get away with it. You might be right. I don't want to know. Not when you pull a face like that. Oh, am I scaring you, my little Lori? A little. That's not necessarily a bad thing. A mistress needs to instill fear in the hearts of her pets, from time to time. Still, Taohua glanced at the sky fitfully. Though she'd been reunited with her beloved violin, her expression was oddly uneasy. I'm sorry I got mad at you a few days ago, Lori. Really, I am. Are you still thinking about that? It's been weighing on my mind. Don't worry about it so much. Lorena looked at the ground, her face flushed a dusky pink. You more than made up for it. Good, I like it when you're honest, Lori. Taohua smiled and coiled a strand of dark hair on her finger, but heavy thoughts soon impeded on her good spirits and she frowned. But I meant what I said before. What? I really am sorry I acted so cruelly. You've been treated badly enough in the past, and you hardly need me giving you a hard time too. It's fine, I'm used to it. But you shouldn't be, and I don't want you to be. I know I can be a difficult woman, Amelia told me as much. She was probably right, but I'm not lying when I say I care for you. Do you really mean it? Really, I don't say things I don't mean. Sometimes it can be hard to tell. Then how about this? Taohua took Lorena's right hand in her own, twining their fingers together like vines. Her palm was soft and warm, and the unexpected touch made Lorena jolt in surprise. Taohua? Lori? Taohua's fingers squeezed tighter. I promise I'll take good care of you, no matter what. I admit in the beginning, I pursued with no real purpose other than alleviating my own boredom, but over time my feelings changed. I care about you, you're important to me, and... Taohua smiled softly. You really are adorable. I am not. I fail to see what you hope to gain by telling such barefaced lies, but alright, I won't question it, but I will kiss you. And true to her word, Taohua pressed a gentle kiss against Lorena's mouth. Dang, bro. Got more kissing in this than we had in The Language of Love. The following day, Lorena found herself in Lady Constance's bedroom. Best girl, bro. Best girl. It was not her old bedroom, located on the 3rd floor of Bly, but the new one she and Taohua had prepared a few days ago. Despite her sudden shift in lodgings, however, Lady Constance has still fallen victim to the sickness that spread through Bly's halls. Her blonde hair, so typically neat and straight, now curled about her face in a most disorderly manner. For once, Lady Constance looked less like a living doll and more like a wild child. A regular girl Friday. Ugh, this tastes terrible! Lady Constance pushed the tray away from her with a scowl. Is there something not to your liking, miss? Weren't you listening? I already said it. It tastes terrible. Take it away. But didn't you ask for porridge? Yes, I did. I asked for porridge. Not this mush. The porridge looked perfectly edible to Lorena. It smelled perfectly edible too. The aroma of the mixed oats and warm milk was mouth-watering. You shouldn't turn your nose up at it. You haven't even tried it yet. Are you trying to tell me what to do? I'm not telling you to do anything. I'm merely suggesting. Well, don't. If I wanted the suggestions of a lowly maid, I'd ask. Not that I ever would. I might be sick, but I'm not insane. The cook worked hard on that, you know? As she should. I'm not going to praise her for doing her job, and I'm not going to forgive you for not doing yours. But Lady Constance... No buts. You're not being paid to talk back to me. Now take this slop away and bring me something else. What do you want? Something sweeter. The cook did add some sugar. Not enough. You didn't taste it. I don't need to taste it. Why do you want me to taste something I don't like? Did you slip some hemlock in there while the cook's back was turned? What? No! Humph. I know you hate me. If you thought you could get away with it, you'd kill me in a heartbeat. Lorena had experienced quite enough of Lady Constance's bizarre mood swings over the month, and she wasn't sure how to react. Should she get angry? Should she be scared? Should she try instead to be friendly? She wasn't sure. Emotions waged war inside Lorena's head, but in the end, practicality came out the winner. It was hard to be too terribly frightened of Lady Constance when she was lying in bed with an acute fever. Please don't talk such nonsense. I'm a maid. I get paid to serve you. If there was no Lady Constance to serve, I wouldn't get paid. That doesn't make me feel better at all. But it is the truth. You maids never tell the truth. It's always yes, miss, and no, miss, and whatever will please you the most, miss. But you don't mean it. You don't really want to please me. Then what would you prefer I say? You don't like it when I talk back to you? Of course not. It's the height of rudeness. You should learn your place. Well then, Lorena sighed. Lady Constance was always difficult, but she was being uniquely challenging today. Maybe it was because she'd fallen ill. She was still one of the foulest girls Lorena had ever met. But she did look rather small, lying in that large bed of hers. Her bed was so big it swallowed her up, so she looked even littler than ever before, even more alone. Do you think your porridge would taste better with jam? The cook said the blackberry bushes in the garden are groaning with fruit. Effie and Lieselotte are picking blackberries a while ago. Were picking blackberries a while ago, but there's plenty left. And you should make use of them. What's the point of having all those blackberry bushes if you don't pick fruit? Lorena groaned. Has she given herself more work to do? Seems like it. Ah, Lorena blinked. Her eyelashes fluttered as the flavor spread across her tongue. It was tart, with just a hint of sweetness. But not sweet enough to be saccharine. It slid down her throat smoothly when she swallowed, but a slight tang remained at the tip of her tongue. I didn't know you could cook. There are many things you don't know about me, my little Lori. I'm a maid of many talents. I can see that now, but why are you making Lady Constance's jam? Isn't that the cook's job? She has more important things to worry about than Lady Constance's whims. I think she's grown tired of bending over backwards to please her. Must be hard for the cook to bend over at all, let alone backwards, with that bosom of hers. But she's only been ill for a day. Yes, but she's been making a lot of unreasonable demands. The cook is a proud woman. That isn't to say she's a bad woman, because she's not, despite her temper, but she cares a lot about her craft. Having her porridge sent back uneaten must have been the last straw. Did she ask you to make it in her stead? Taohua nodded. Couldn't one of the scullery maids do it, Bessie or Liza? If those were indeed their names, but Taohua soon put an end to this fancy. Those silly fools, I doubt it. Their heads are hollower than my violin. But they work in the kitchens every day. Sweeping floors and soaping pots. They don't know the first thing about cookery. In any case, they're both abed at the moment with this fearsome plague. Oh, I see. My culinary skills, on the other hand, are well renowned. If they're good enough for the cook, and Lord knows she has high standards, they should be good enough for Lady Constance. I don't think she'll appreciate it. She's already accused me of trying to poison her, and that was before you got involved. She did she? Yes, I don't think she believes it, but she must be in quite a poor mood. It's natural. She's at that age where children start thinking about the great unknown. From what I remember, I was also quite the maudlin 12-year-old. Did you think your servants were making regular attempts at your life too? I didn't have servants, Lori. I wasn't rich. But Lady Whittier... It's irrelevant. Fortunately, Lady Constance's concerns over her own life may mean all hope is not lost. What do you mean? If she thinks you might want to kill her, she must realize, however vaguely, that she is quite the killable little girl. You really do have a way with words. I know. I may as well be Mephistopheles. What? They're a character in a play, Faust, by Goethe. Wagner wrote an overture based on it. You know I'm not familiar with fancy things like that. It's alright, my little Lori. We can't all be cultured as Moi. You are such a show-off. I'll apologize if you find my many skills too intimidating. It must be difficult for you, having to work alongside a woman so dutiful, reliable, ever eager to please. And ever humble, of course. Of course! Lena shook her head. Ridiculous. I don't see what's so ridiculous about it. I am dutiful and reliable and eager to please, as you should know only too well. Forgive me for my cynicism. Then, do you want a reminder? What do you mean? What do you think I mean? Taohua grinned mischievously, letting the tip of her tongue run against her lower lip. Don't be so disgusting. But spending quality time with my little Lori is never disgusting. I love taking care of you. But Lady Constance is waiting for her porridge. I'm sure a bit of waiting won't kill her. That girl needs to learn that the world doesn't revolve around her. Why don't we look upon it as revenge? Revenge? For showing us up the other day. What do you think? Lorena dipped her head. Her cheeks were pink. She wanted to get closer to Taohua. She wanted to be closer to Taohua than anybody else was, even Emilie. Welcome back, 99-senpai. Particularly Emilie. Taohua had told Lorena she was dear to her yesterday, not expecting the sudden confession. Lorena's face had flooded bright red, and her heart had stuttered inside her chest. Nobody had ever told her that before, other than her mother. Not even Arthur Pickering, with his myriad attempts at seduction, had told Lorena she was dear, or special, or beloved. He never told her she was important. He just told her she had nice hair. But at the same time, was having sex really the right way to forge a new understanding with the older woman? It was intimate, yes, but at the same time, Lorena couldn't help but worry Taohua was using it as a distraction, a deflection, to stop Lorena asking questions. She was letting Lorena get close to her physically, but not emotionally. Lorena might have been special to Taohua, and maybe she was beloved, but that didn't mean Taohua trusted her. Not as Lorena had trusted Taohua. Lorena had told Taohua about her past after all, uncomfortable though it was, but Taohua had yet to offer her the same courtesy. Why was that? Lori? Taohua gave Lorena a curious look. You were away with the fairies there. Oh, I'm sorry. Lorena shook her head. Her ponytail bounced. My mind was just wandering, I guess. I can see that for myself. I think I know what you need. What? Lorena looked at Taohua cautiously. Taohua responded in turn with a smile. You need to eat something sweet. That should clear away your worries. Taohua dipped the silvery spoon into the jar of blackberry jam, the lid already unscrewed and lying on the table, and proffered it to Lorena. Do you want to try? I already had some, thank you. But I'm sure it wasn't enough to fill you up. You're a growing girl. Don't talk about me like that. I'm not a turnip at a farmer's market. Of course you aren't. I wouldn't try to flirt so desperately with a turnip, even if it did happen to be unusually attractive. That kind of romance would be too much even for me. Oh, you. Lorena sighed. If she was pitted against Taohua, she couldn't win. It was impossible. If you really want me to eat the jam, then... Lorena opened her mouth obediently. Taohua slid the spoon inside. The bone china clinked against Lorena's teeth, making a shiver run down her spine. It was cool. The jam, meanwhile, was just as delicious as it had been before. It was tart with an undercurrent of sugary sweetness, not too strong as to be overpowering. It was just right, like the story of the three bears. Is it good? Really good. Is that so? I might have to taste it for myself. Well, what are you... is this where the freaking visual novel gets its title, Blackberry Honey? Taohua leant forwards and claimed Lorena's lips with her own. You taste like blackberries. Of course I do. I was eating blackberry jam. As sensible as ever, my little Lori. Oh, the namesakes? Yeah, that's what I was thinking, right? Ayo, when they effing? I mean, they were about to, but then Lorena was like, wait a minute. But given you're so very sensible, maybe we should stop for now. But you don't want to stop, do you? Lorena tried to protest, but her rebuttal was half-hearted at best. It was irritating, but Taohua was right. Kissing the older woman did excite her. It made her want more. Much, much more. But was being close physically enough? Sometimes it felt like it was, but... Oh, what did it matter? As maids, the pair of them had busy schedules. It was rare to find a private moment like this, alone, where they could be together. If Lorena let the chance slip by, she wasn't sure when she'd be able to spend time with Taohua like this again. Alright, have it your way. You mean you want to be with me? Yes, I want to be with you too. I missed it. Oh, my little Lori, you should have said. Taohua pressed a kiss against the tip of Lorena's nose. You know, I rather missed it too. You did? Now, why don't I check just how much you missed me? Hey, yo, I want to voice this shit? Bro, what? Me and 99 gonna collab on this next week? So, how is it? Lady Constance pushed a mouthful of porridge from one cheek to the other. Alright, you see this little girl, 99? She's probably my favorite character, because she's like such a bitch. She's so arrogant that I fucking love it. I shouldn't love it, but I do. What's going on, Nepu? How you doing, bud? Lady Constance pushed a mouthful of porridge from one cheek to the other. The way her cheeks bulged with their burden was almost comical. But Lorena didn't laugh. It was difficult to laugh when Lady Constance was so very temperamental. King of Lewd is here? Bro, that's not the King of Lewd. That's not Nep Guy. That's Nepu. That's original Nep. Not Nep Ya Nep. The Bobas? Oh, hell yeah. I'm gonna voice her too. Fuck yeah. The way her cheeks bulged with their burden was almost comical, but Lorena didn't laugh. It was almost difficult to laugh when Lady Constance was so very temperamental. The smallest of missteps could, quite easily, result in that porcelain bowl of porridge being thrown at her head. Fortunately, I suppose it doesn't taste too terrible. Lady Constance seemed to be satisfied with Lorena's offering, for now. And why do you look so gormless, maid? Has your soul exited your body? No, I was just thinking. About what exactly? Oh, what a beautiful day it is today, that's all. Hmm? The jam and the porridge are acceptable, but it took you almost 2 hours to serve me. Why is that? I had to pick the berries from the garden myself, and that took some time. And we didn't have any jam to hand, so it had to be made from scratch. The cook has worked in the household for a long time, and she can make jam very quickly, isn't it? It isn't hard. What would you know about making jam? You've never made anything in your privileged little life, except caustic comments designed to upset people. Very rare to see you stream on YouTube. Actually, YouTube is where I stream the most now. I stream on YouTube at least twice a week. And I stream on Twitch like never. Because I hate Twitch now. So, yeah. I don't know. It might not be like a good time for you though, right? Is this usually the time when you sleep? I don't know. It's good to have you here. How have you been though? What's been going on? What's the latest news? You still playing any Genshin or not so much? Same people. 2 people, both lewd. Me? Lewd, eh? One's a FPS gamer, one's an RPG gamer. Fair enough. That was what Lorena thought, but she did not say it. She had more sense than that. The cook wasn't the one who made the jam, actually. She was otherwise engaged. Then who? Lorena knew telling Lady Constance the truth was a bad idea. But suddenly, she was seized by a burst of madness. Lady Constance praised Taohua's jam. She hadn't known who made it, but she'd still praised it. Maybe, if she knew Taohua was the one behind it, she might warm toward the parlor maid a little. She could at least try, couldn't she? So Lorena inhaled, squared her shoulders, and said, Taohua. Taohua? Lady Constance pulled a face. She looked utterly disgusted. All of a sudden, I don't feel very well. You haven't been feeling well since this morning. Well, I feel even more unwell now. I'm not hungry. I watched Taohua prepare that jam, you know. She didn't add anything strange to it. It won't kill you. I hope not, because if I start to feel sicker, I'll tell Mama, and she won't be impressed. If you start feeling sicker, it'll be because you are sick, and you haven't been eating properly out of sheer stubbornness. I haven't been eating properly because you're all incompetent. And how are we all incompetent exactly? First, the cook makes me porridge that's too cold. And then it's too hot, and now this third batch is completely inedible. There's nothing inedible about it. It's fine. It's not fine. I hate that parlor maid, and I refuse to eat anything she's touched. Who knows what kind of foreign diseases she might have. She's been living in England longer than you've been alive. Why should I care? It doesn't make any difference to me. She's still a freak. Lady Constance, how dare you compare me to a woman like that? How dare you? It's bad enough that you fawn over her like she's the second coming of Christ. But now you're trying to convert me too? I won't have it. I won't. But, shut up. Just shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Lady Constance picked up the bowl of porridge that was sitting on the tray. Damn, hate. Shaking my head. Yeah, I should be asleep now, but I can't. Oh, damn. What's going on, man? You stressed out or sick or something? I hope you're feeling well. Oh, man, I should be sleeping too. Shaking my head, but insomnia popping. Not gonna lie. Hey, same boat, Nep, same boat. Fuck. Anyway, I haven't played Genshin for 27 days. Oh, you got hacked. That's fucked. Did you complain about it to MiHoYo and try to get your account back? That's crazy, dude. Damn, no, that's bad. Oh yeah, try play Dona one day. What the heck is Dona? I'll have to look that up. She flung it against the wall, guys. That evening, a thoroughly exhausted Lorena returned to the servants' quarters. She'd only intended to stay there a short while to finish off a letter she'd been writing to her mother, but something made her pause. Lieselotte was sitting up in bed, her face flushed with fever, and Effie was perched neatly by her side. In Effie's hand was a glass jar filled with a thick, blackish-purple substance that looked awfully familiar. In fact, it was far too familiar. Unbidden, Lorena's face flushed bright scarlet. Here you are, say ah. Ah. Lieselotte opened her mouth obligingly, and Effie slipped a wooden spoon laden with blackberry jam into her mouth. Lorena hung back for a while, watching this little performance. Effie continued to feed Lieselotte like an invalid. Every once in a while, she paused to take the Swiss maid's temperature or tread her fingers through her hair. Lieselotte giggled and allowed Effie to coddle her. This jam is so sweet, it reminds me of the Alps. Did you eat jam in the Alps? Oh yes, the Alps are filled with bilberries in the summer. They are everywhere, in all the hedgerows, and all the children pick them until their fingers are stained with purple juice. My mother used to send me out to collect blueberries in a wicker basket, and then she would make the most delicious jam in our kitchen. How does this compare? It is delicious. I feel like I am back at home. When I close my eyes, I can almost see it. Lieselotte's pale blonde eyelashes pressed together like a thick curtain. I can see the butterflies fluttering in the breeze, and the clear blue skies and the flowers, so many flowers, spread out like a picnic basket. Blanket. Oh, and the view, the sights, the cows in the fields eating buttercups, and the snow-capped hills in the distance. Lieselotte sighed. It was a deep sigh filled with unrealized longing. I like how she talks about like the fields and the picnics and the cows grazing. And then she says there are snow freaking capped peaks in the distance, because then it sounds like Mondstadt. With like dragon spine in the distance and shit. I already did report to Hoyovors. They said they will report back to me after 20 work days. Ah. Juice? What do you mean, juice? She sounded so earnest and sincere, Lorena felt something tremble inside her own breast. This jam is delicious. Thank you for bringing it to me. The cook did a wonderful job. The cook didn't make it. Oh, then who did? It was Taohua. Oh, it was Taohua, the peculiar parlor maid? That's right. How curious. I didn't know she could cook. She doesn't look like the kind who would like to get her hands dirty. No, I suppose she doesn't. She's awfully aloof, I think. But I suppose she's not so bad deep down. You don't mind that she made that jam? Of course not. Why should I mind? She did a wonderful job. My mother could not have done better, I think. Lieselotte looked at Effie with large, pleading eyes and held her hands together at her front in prayer. Please, miss, can I have some more? A rare smile twitched at the corner of Effie's lips, but she soon smoothed them down again. You'll get what you're given. Yo, bro, I don't know if Saru is still here, but Saru, I think, is also a fellow Effie fan. And I gotta say, Saru99 and Nepu, I think Effie x Lieselotte is gonna happen, bro. This is getting kinda hot and heavy, kinda cute. I'm liking this shit. Boo, how sad. But you're pretty, so here. Ooh, and she's calling her pretty too? Bro, it's gonna happen. It's gonna fucking happen, bro. I think Effie x Lieselotte is the S tier couple of the game. Even better than the main couple. Thank you very much. Effie spooned another mouthful of jam out of the glass jar, which was now almost empty, and brought it to Lieselotte's lips. The Swiss maid accepted it readily, like a hungry baby bird. Effie was a little too zealous in her spoon feeding. When she drew the wooden utensil away, a small smut of black purple jam remained on Lieselotte's cheek. Oh, you have some on you. Where? Here? No. Here? No. Here? Let me. Oh, yeah. So saying, Effie dipped her head and licked the smear of jam from Lieselotte's cheek. Fuck yeah. The tip of Effie's tongue pressed against Lieselotte's smooth skin, and she lapped up the jam in less than a second. It all happened so quickly, Lorena wasn't sure whether or not her eyes were playing tricks on her, But when Effie drew back her head, a tremulous strand of saliva connected her mouth to Lieselotte's cheek. Mmm, delicious. Effie wiped her mouth with the back of her hand. Lorena's face, meanwhile, burned bright red. How could two women do such things to one another, and so brazenly, too? Didn't they care who saw? Maybe Effie didn't. She was a peculiar girl. And as for Lieselotte, she was Swiss. Did Swiss girls have different notions about acceptable boundaries between female friends? Either way, it didn't particularly matter. Ada was fast asleep, her breathing cracked and hissy as it always was, and Pauline and Isabel, despite being sick, were nowhere to be seen. I assume her melon size is H cup. It might even be bigger, who knows. Ayo, I like the black-haired woman. Ayo, sheesh. But Effie, I thought you didn't like sweets. I don't. But I do care for you. Oh, Effie. Lieselotte ducked her head and giggled again. Her face was flushed. Lorena wondered why. Maybe they liked one another. Maybe they did more than like one another. That would explain the licking. There were a couple of things, however, it didn't explain. When did Taohua give you that jam? A couple of hours ago. She stopped me in the hallway. Why? Effie shrugged. She said it was a present. Really? Personally, however, I think it was a bribe. A bribe? For my silence. Well, at least you're appreciating the jam more than Lady Constance. Why had she told Lady Constance, who had really made the jam anyway? It had been incredibly foolish of her. Lorena sighed heavily. Oh, Lori, why do you look so sad? It's nothing, I was just thinking. About Taohua? No, Lorena turned her head. She could feel her face heating up again, as it always did when she thought about the parlor maid. The sight and smell of the blackberry jam wasn't helping either. I was just wondering, well, can I ask you for some advice? You can ask me anything, but as Pauline said, I am a dumb blonde, so maybe my answer is not so good. Right, well, Lorena dipped her head. She fiddled anxiously with her fingers. Do you know how I can get closer to Taohua? Closer? Lieselotte blinked curiously. Her eyes, Lorena suddenly noticed, were very large and very blue. But you are already close to her, are you not? Yes, but I can't always tell what she's thinking. Women are mysterious creatures. You're also a woman. No. What does she mean, no? Alright, I better try to sleep. Got chores to do later morning. Have a great stream and great day. Thanks for popping in, Nepu. I hope you're able to sleep well, bud. And I hope you get your account back for Genshin, man. No? What do you mean, no? Like I said, I'm a vampire. Can vampires not be women? Who knows? Lorena groaned inwardly. Well, woman or not, you have the mysterious part down perfectly. Thank you. It wasn't a compliment. I know. Lord, give me strength. Effie could be helpful at times, in her own Effie-like way, but her clipped, deadpan responses were rather frustrating. If you want to know how Taohua feels, yes? Lorena leant in a little closer. Was she finally going to get the advice she wanted? Listen to your heart. Oh? Lorena's shoulders slumped. So that was it, was it? How could a hackneyed cliche piece of advice like that be useful? Lorena was the daughter of a millionaire from Liverpool. She didn't care for pretty sentiments that ultimately meant nothing. She wanted clear, precise, actionable advice. Maybe asking Effie and Lieselotte had been a mistake. She'd get better advice asking Figaro. Well, thank you for your help. Lorena moved to her bed, searching for the half-finished letter she had penned to her mother last night when, oh, Lorena. And where have you two been? Oh, around. I thought you were sick. We got better. I can see that. I was talking to one of the valets, you see. Ah, yes, Pauline and Isabel would have been talking with the valets. They were always trying to flirt, even when they were on the job. And I happened to hear a most interesting rumor. What? Apparently, Lady Constance has been in a foul mood all day, but her temper got even worse when you visited her. Now, Pauline's lips curved into a cruel thin smile like the blade of a scimitar. I wonder why that was. She's in a bad mood because she's ill, like you're supposed to be. That's what you say, but I wouldn't be at all surprised if she was in a bad mood because she saw you. Pauline, you're being too cruel. Enough, Lottie. If I wanted your opinion, I ask for it. You should learn to hold your tongue, especially when you can't truly speak our language. I thought I had improved my English a little, at least. If you have, it really is a little. Now, Lorena, what exactly did you do to Lady Constance? You flatter me. I don't hold any influence over her moods. I mean about as much as an aunt to her. My, how peculiar. I often feel in a bad mood when I see you too, and I'm a grown woman. I wouldn't be so sure about that. Lady Constance is only a young child. I can't imagine what effect your presence must be having on her. Well, I must say, Lady Constance is very fortunate that you and Isabel care about her so much. If you're really that concerned about her, why don't you tend to her in my stead? You both seem to be recovering nicely. Oh my, did we touch a nerve? Despite our disagreements, Lorena, I've only ever tried to help you. And how was slapping me supposed to help? I was disciplining you as your senior. They call it tough love. Unfortunately, my tutelage seems to have failed. Don't blame yourself, Pauline. Some people can't be taught. Jesus Christ. I know, but it is quite disheartening. I just thought I'd warn you, Lorena. You should take care of yourself. I wouldn't want you to end up like Miss Amy. Lorena looked at Pauline stiffly. Well, thank you for the advice. It's no problem, I assure you. I know we've had our differences, but for all that we disagree, I don't want you to leave Bly. I'm not that petty. I just want to see you grow into a halfway competent maid, and maybe in the process a halfway respectable woman. To that end, you should probably sever your ties with the parlor maid. And why is that? I thought it would have been obvious. Your reputation is poor enough as it is. You don't need to sully it further by associating with a savage. A savage? A true barbarian. The way she looks at me is enough to make my bones rattle. She has such small slanted eyes, you can never tell what she's thinking. And her face is most disagreeable. But Taohua gave me this jam. It really is delicious. I wouldn't eat that if I were you, Lottie. It might be infected, but I feel fine. I'll take care of her. That's very admirable, and while you do that, I'm going to try and take care of Lorena. There's a little good that can be said about you, Lorena, but at least you're English. Don't start learning her ways, or there really will be no salvaging you. There's a limit to how much goodness I can do. Yep, you're doing so much goodness, Pauline. And that's what Pauline said. Can you credit it? Oh, is that all? What do you mean, is that all? I've heard worse in my time. But how could she be so cruel? It's quite simple. Human beings are cruel creatures. Take Lady Constance, for example. I could hardly believe it when she threw that porridge across the room. Why is she so wicked? Because she's never been taught to think about anybody other than her selfish little self. The Leonard family is so wealthy, she doesn't need to. I could never throw good food like that away. My mother would have hit me with a slipper. Your mother, I fear, is rather different from Lady Leonard. Yes, she is. At least she has sense. Taohua giggled beneath her breath. You're always so passionate, Lori. That's what I like about you. Taohua hummed under her breath as she trailed her fingers through Lorena's hair. Lorena exhaled, leaning into the older woman's touch. Her hands were just like magic. Taohua's gentle ministrations were so relaxing, Lorena felt like she could have fallen asleep. She would have done so, too, if she weren't so nettled about the earlier events. Has Lady Constance always been like this? Oh yes, I'm quite certain of that. I've known the fair lady since she was still a bump inside Lady Leonard's stomach. She has been spoiled rotten her whole life, and she believes she can get her own way if she stamps her feet loudly enough and complains. For the most part, she would be right. She would never ever eat anything prepared by my hands, not willingly. She hates me far too much. I wonder why, though. Because I don't put up with her nonsense like the other maids. Don't you get into trouble? Lady Constance wants me to get into trouble, but her mother won't send me away no matter what. I'm her most valuable possession. Possession? That's right. I suppose in this world all maids are owned by their masters and mistresses, but my case is a little different. Taohua smiled thinly, without any real mirth. It's apparent from a single glance that I don't belong. I've been made aware of the fact my whole life, by almost everybody I've met. I'm rather accustomed to it now. But isn't that lonely? It's not so terribly lonely. I don't mind being alone. It's more aggravating than anything. Lady Leonard only lets me remain here out of the goodness of her heart because I'm popular with her guests. People come from all over England to get a good gawp at her parlor maid. It's because I'm so very fascinating. I imagine they'd be rather disappointed if they knew I was born in England like the rest of them. Really? Truly, I was born in Brixton. Which Brixton? The one in London. Then you... Wait a minute, I'm confused. Why do you look like... Like you do? Don't worry about it too much, my little Lori. I wouldn't want you to get a headache. But you don't look like you were born in London, not in the slightest. I know, but looks can be deceiving. Not that I'm intentionally trying to deceive anyone. But I suppose it's inevitable given my appearance. I can thank my father for that. Sometimes I grow rather tired of being treated as a living enigma, when I'm not so different to everyone else. Lady Leonard's guests never talk to me, but about me. And very excitedly at that. Maybe they think I'm too ignorant to understand what they're saying. True, I'm cruel as F. Damn, 99. If only Nari knew. Sometimes I wonder if they think I can't speak English, though in truth I can't speak anything but. Lady Leonard only keeps me here because I look unusual. It's not because she thinks I'm particularly talented or intelligent or good at my job. I'm just a diverting amusement. This squared with what Amelia had told Lorena, but she still couldn't accept it. Rather, I can't stand it. The way Lady Constance spoke about you was so hateful? Yes, that's exactly it. She's a hateful girl. She doesn't know how to be anything other than hateful, so that's how she acts. It's what I've grown to expect, and she's not the only one. I've heard what the other servants whisper about me and the people in Ellesmere. That's probably what Lady Leonard wants. She enjoys the attention. But it all seems so silly. What does? If you hate Bly so much, why do you keep working here? You're starting to sound like Amelia. Well, good. I think she raised some valid points. You could always sell your violin. That would give you the means to do anything you want. You could go anywhere you want. Memories of the old stories her father had read to her came slowly in his mind. The Arabian Nights, Gulliver's Travels, Don Quixote, or Quixote. They were fantastic stories filled with adventure. Lorena knew things in real life rarely worked out as they did in books. She doubted Taohua would encounter any magical lamps or teeny tiny Lilliputians on her travels. That was out of the question. But if Taohua did travel, maybe she would be able to be happy. No matter what Taohua said, Lorena was sure of one thing. 99, can you send me the 3 panty shots before you go to sleep? That way I can upload them to a tier maker by tonight. I already got a Yaimiko one from Wiggles. Don't know how I'm gonna get Ball and Shenhe, but maybe I could just like Google them. Why then didn't she leave? Was her violin more precious than her freedom? Why don't you go? See the world outside these walls. I know you could. Lorena was growing quite excited by her own suggestion. You've told me how much you hate serving Lady Leonard's guests, and I know you hate Lady Constance. If you hate it so much, why don't you quit? Why don't you? Why don't I indeed? I wonder. Perhaps it wouldn't be such a poor idea. You mean you'd be willing to consider it? I've been considering it for quite a while, but Taoha's fingers rested within the loose, auburn fronds of Lena's hair. She pondered. As she pondered, her eyes fell upon her well-worn, well-traveled violin case, almost as though they were drawn there. But what would Lady Whittier think? Alright guys, I think I'm going to end stream here, since it's a new day in the story, and I think we've reached about an hour of streaming this, which brings me to 3.5 hours of streaming today, I think. No, wait. 2 hours Genshin. I think I did an hour and a half of MILF, and then an hour of this. So that's 4.5 hours of streaming today. That's a fucking lot. And I want to go figure out what I'm going to be eating, because I'm hungry and thirsty. So, yeah. Oh, Toby, we're ending stream. You came late, buddy. You missed the MILFs, and you missed the Yuri. Big F. But yeah, I'm still alive, bro. I'm thirsty and hungry as F, though, so I have to end stream. We already did an hour and a half of MILF, and we did an hour of Yuri. But yeah, next Friday I'll continue with the Yuri stuff on YouTube around this time. And after that, we're gonna be on a 1 stream per week schedule. So, I don't know, man. We're going clutch on the schedules. It's getting narrowed down. I'm probably gonna stop streaming on Twitch again. No more Twitch. But I'll still be streaming on YouTube once or twice a week. And next week, next Friday, we'll do Yuri again. But thanks for being here, guys. Take it easy. Eat well, sleep well. Thanks for chatting. Thanks for stopping in. Thanks for liking the stream or the video if you've done that. I see we got 4 likes. That helps. I appreciate it. And, you know, just being here in general, man. I got one right now. Alright, bet. DM them to me. DM them to me, or... yeah, I guess DMing them to me is the easiest thing. But yeah, take it easy, guys. Eat well yourselves. Sleep well yourselves. Have a nice night, buds.